How's it going, everybody? Welcome to We Do Tech. Now for today's video we are going to take a look at the Castle 360EX from DeepCool. Now this is the big boy, the triple rad, but you also do get the dual 240 rad, which is again a bit smaller, but we're going to take a look at the big boy for today. Looking for a logo either for your business or social media accounts, but don't necessarily have the graphic design experience? Well, a free logo design is here to help you out to create a new logo in a mere seconds. Simply select a template from a variety of options, edit your logo until you're completely satisfied, and download a 200 pixel PNG logo for free. Or you can choose the high resolution package at only $39, which includes the high-res files in a PNG, a JPG, and SVG. More than 2 million logos have been downloaded so far, so go check out freelogodesign.org today to get your new logo. Now, pricing wise, the 360EX is retailing for $160 on Amazon, with the 240 variant going for around $30 cheaper at $130. Now, that already is quite a bit more affordable than some of the competitors' AIOs, so that is what DeepCool is going for, delivering a good performance but also at a good price point. But now, before we get into the big feature of the 360EX, firstly, the radiator. So the radiator comes in the standard 27mm thickness. It is made out of aluminum, has a nice compact fin density, and of course it does have space for that 3 120mm fans. For the tubing, it is braided for durability, but it's also nice and thin, which makes it very easy to bend to fit inside your case, and of course that doesn't affect your performance. For the fans, you do get 3 included TF120S 120mm fans that are definitely good enough to keep the temps down, with the speeds ranging between 500 to 1800 RPM, a CFM of 64.4, and from my testing, a max loudness of 59 dBs. But unfortunately, there is no RGB for the included fan. So if you want that, you can buy some other ones, or you can buy some attachments that connects onto the front of the fan, which turns it into RGB. Now straight away, you will notice that there is something standing out about the 360EX, and that is the beautiful RGB lighting around the pump. It's definitely not that it is super massive, but yes, the RGB is really good looking, but the pump is quite large. The reason for that, firstly, is because it does have a larger copper base for better heat absorption, especially for larger chips like Threadripper. But also, to my knowledge, DeepCool is not using the Asetek patent for their coolers, which we can see in, for example, in Corsair's AIOs that usually are much smaller. So DeepCool is using their own custom system that is driven by a 3-phase X-Life motor and a pressure charging impeller, which does make the pump stronger but also more silent. Also, a new feature that DeepCool added is their anti-leak tech. So inside the radiator, there is an elastic pressure relief bag with one side exposed to the air and the other side dipped into the coolant. When the internal pressure exceeds atmospheric pressure, the bag will be squeezed and thereby increase the system's internal volume. As a result, the increase in pressure is released and the risk of leakage is avoided. So to the people who are still a bit skeptical about having water inside your PC, hopefully this can put you at ease. And also to the people who just want to be extremely safe, there you go, you have that feature. Now moving on to the installation process, installing the 360EX is extremely simple, and of course you do have the manual that is also just easy to understand that you can follow with. And I know that us guys don't really like reading the manual because it's not manly enough, like asking for directions, but if you need it, you need it, and it is there, and I needed it a few times. So just to make sure about some connections, I didn't need the entire thing, okay? Just one or two little bitty cables. So firstly, for the fan and the radiator installation, it's just like you would install any other IRO. Screw in the fan, screw into the place in your case where you want it. For the pump installation, you will need to screw in the two brackets on the pump. There is one for AMD and there's one for Intel. Next, you will need to install the back support that goes onto your motherboard. Here it is kind of better to look at the manual to see which screw goes into which hole, because there are different ones for Intel and different ones for AMD. So just check out the manual for that. And then also which rotation the bracket needs to be at the back of the board, again for the different platforms. However, for TR4 or for the LGA 2000 series sockets, for those you do actually get screws that you just screw onto the board, where you don't need to have that back plate. Then finally, all you need to do is connect the beautiful Rgb lighting, and that is also kind of simple. Now for this, you do have two options. Either firstly, you can connect the lighting to your motherboard's 5-volt digital RGB header, which only uses the 3 pins again instead of the 4, so just check that. And then you just use your motherboard's RGB software like MSI's Mystic Lighting, ASUS Aura, and a Gigabyte Fusion. However, if your motherboard does not have that 5-volt digital RGB header, then you will need to use the included controller, which just connects to the SATA power and then also has 3 buttons. The top and the bottom one cycle through the effects, and then the middle one is for the speed of the effects. There are a bunch of different effects that you can go through and a bunch of different colors, so you will just need to play around with that to see what you like the most. Also, a nice feature for me is that if you do install the pump head the wrong way up for the logo in the middle, then you can actually unscrew the top part and then take out that silver chip and position it into another direction to position it in the right way up. Also, you do get an included blank chip if you wanted to customize your own logo or your own picture on it. You can do that as well instead of the Gamerstorm logo. That's nice. I do like the customization ability. Now moving on to the performance side of the Castle 360EX, I installed it on my Intel 8700K, which I overclocked to 5 GHz on all 6 cores at a 1.3 volts. I installed it into my Corsair 460X case. Also, I use the pre-applied thermal paste on the rad to get that out of the box performance. So then on idle, my 8700K hovered around the high 20s to low 30s. Then moving on to gaming, I played some PUBG, and yes, I still suck at that game. Don't even mention it in the comments because I know. But in a game, the CPU ranged around the mid 40s, with the fans also not much higher than on idle. Jumping into a Blender Classroom render, the CPU did go up to around 75 degrees, with the fans ramping up to 1600 RPM. Then finally, for the AIDA64 Extreme Stress Test, the CPU ranged around the low 70s, but it did also jump into the low 80s every now and then. So performance is definitely good. If you wanted to, you can overclock your CPU a bit more. I did overclock my 8700K to 5.2 GHz just for fun. And for the AIDA64 stress test, it did struggle there a bit, thermal throttling at 100 degrees. But that of course was also at a 1.45 volts. Also, my CPU wasn't delidded, which usually you do if you are gonna run that at that high of a gigahertz or that high of an overclock. But again, you can, if you do delid, it'll drop your temperature around what, 20 degrees or so to get rid of that thermal throttle. So then that's pretty much it for my look at the Castle 360EX from DeepCool. Currently, if I do compare it to all of the other AIOs that I've reviewed so far on this channel, it is the best so far. Now again, I haven't reviewed a lot of AIOs, but so far this is the best performing one. So if you guys are looking for a good performing AIO cooler, a triple rad especially, then this is a good option to go for, especially because it is at a good price point as well compared to some of its competitors. So there you guys have it. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Like always, if you guys do have any questions like installation or other thermal related questions, let me know down in the comments below. I will try to answer that, but most of the installation is really simple. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will check all of you next time. Cheers, guys.